Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Blog Talk Radio's The Incoherent Ramblings of C&E. Christopher and Eric are your hosts, coming to you live from Greensboro, North Carolina, as we do every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Our intro music is provided from the Podshow PodSafe Music Network. Check it out at music.podshow.com. Also, feel free to email your topics for discussion, suggestions, and comments to incoherentramblings@live.com.
This is Christopher.
This is Eric.
It's Thursday, May 20th, 2010. We're broadcasting live from the internationally famous C&E Studios here in Greensboro, North Carolina. How are you, Eric?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
A little better?
A little better.
Still one-legged?
Yep, still one-legged. Hopefully I will recuperate faster than everybody keeps telling me I'm going to. I'm determined to. If someone would like to call into our show, they can call in at 646-716-6928. You can also go to blogtalkradio.com/incoherent ramblings and find out about all the ways they can follow us.
Absolutely.
On the interweb.
Including iTunes.
iTunes. Free.
Not charging for it yet.
Not yet. Well, our sponsors come through for us, so we don't really have to charge.
That's right.
You know, but most people do charge 99 cents per each podcast.
Plus, we're both independently wealthy.
Yes. So that kind of helps it too.
Right.
That kind of makes a little bit of a difference. So, but anyhow, free podcast. This is the way we give back.
That's right.
So go
crazy.
Yeah, just go crazy. Go in there and just click on our link and join.
I don't know how many. We can do this over a year. So that's at least 52 episodes, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's 52 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So if they're really dedicated, they could knock out a year's worth in a little over 2 days. 3 days. Yeah, two days.
Well, if they just want to do a couple hours each day throughout the day, they could knock it out in a couple of weeks.
They hit 1 hour, then they're going to hit the next one. They're going to hit the next one.
It's like a good book you can't put down.
That's exactly right. It'd be like 2 full days of
joy,
entertainment for free. Pure euphoria.
And it's free of charge. So we mentioned that it is free. So yes, my leg, it is doing much better. I'll let you ask. I gave our listeners an update on it last week. I'm hoping I will be mobile by the first weekend of June.
I like your father-in-law's idea, though. Get the wheelchair and
then that way I get to go to the front of everything.
That's right.
Get out of the way, I'm a cripple. I get like a shirt from that, what's one of those left-wing groups for the crippled people? They have groups for the cripples. Anyhow, American Disability Act. I could get whatever organization does that. I could get a T-shirt from them and wear it. Be like, just keep pointing at it. That's right. And then I get to go to the front of everything.
That's right. Threaten to sue them.
I could not wash my hands in your sink. I demand that you give me money. No offense to any crippled listeners we may have, because I am currently crippled. I know how it is. Fortunately, mine's not permanent.
Right.
It's temporary crippledness. I did send an email to one of my senators requesting to get in for a tour of the White House while we're up there. They say they want you to apply for that at least 30 days in advance. And when I applied for it, it was like somewhere between 29, 30, 31 days, something like that. So it was really close. So I don't know if I'm going to be able to make that happen, but I hope so. Because I've never actually, as many times as I've been there, and for the amount of time that I lived there, I've never actually toured the White House, and I think that'd be pretty cool.
Well, I think your love for the president should push you over the edge.
It really should. Maybe that's why they haven't responded. My love for him is like borderline stalker.
Right.
I guess, yeah. Anyhow, Lauren has never been to Washington, D.C. ever in her life. And I was talking to someone in front of her. I said, you know what D.C. stands for? And they said, what? I said, Dumpster City. And she's like, then why are you taking me there? I was like, because I'm going to take you just like I did Eric. Because you said you had been several times for work. And twice. Yeah, but you've been for work and pleasure, but it was mostly work.
Pleasure is always work.
Right, yeah, but I mean, like, you try to go out
Well,
and
yeah, I try to see the city.
And so you had a very bad taste in your mouth about it.
Very poor impression.
Yeah, very poor impression because, this is our nation's capital, and it's a dump.
It is.
And then when you went with me, you made the comment that you were glad that you came with me because you weren't exposed to any of that while you were there.
No.
So that's, from having, not that I lived there that long, it's 9 months, but I was there long enough to kind of learn the areas you don't go. And as long as you don't go to those areas, it's actually quite nice.
Right. Plus, I think we were lucky, too.
Right.
When I went to the, one of my bad experiences was just outside the reflection pools. That can't be a bad area.
It's on the borderline of a bad area, though. Yes. Yes. D.C. is kind of like 4 quadrants. That's why it can be quite confusing to people who aren't familiar with navigating it, because you have, let's just take Pennsylvania Avenue. When you're in Georgetown and you're going on Pennsylvania toward the White House, you're in, I think the northwest quadrant, but I could be wrong. I'm not positive on that. Nonetheless, you can be on Pennsylvania Avenue and be on a completely different quadrant, in a different quadrant. My friend Carlin came up to visit, and he was on Pennsylvania, and he was looking for the hotel that I was living in. It was like a condo hotel, and he kept saying, I'm telling him, look for this, this, and this. And he's like, I don't see any of that. And he's telling me the stuff that he's seeing, and I haven't seen any of the stuff he's seeing. Turns out he is on Pennsylvania Avenue, sure enough, but in a different quadrant. So he's never going to see the stuff because at the White House, it stops. And if you don't know to go around the White House on Constitution or whatever, you're never going to get on the other end. So, the reflection pool is kind of, and you also have to keep in mind, because the homeless population is so large up there, events like you experienced would probably be common. That's what I'm thinking. At least the one event I'm thinking of.
Right. You're talking about naked men?
Yes.
Bathing in public bathrooms?
Yes. Yeah. And drawing all
hair over?
Yeah. With his butt in the hand dryer? Are you sure he wasn't a John?
I can't imagine anybody paying for that, no.
No, the John is the payer.
That would be one sick.
I didn't know if he was just cleaning up when he was done. Anyhow, if you go to the right sections, I mean, whenever you're at the museums and the monuments and stuff, you always have the opportunity to run into things that aren't as nice. But if you keep to the right sections, like I kept you in the northwest quadrant, the Georgetown area, the Bethesda, Maryland side, where it's a little bit kind of.
What restaurant would you at?
Which one?
One that was not in Washington. It was in
Bethesda.
Yeah.
The Green Papaya.
Yes, the Green Papaya.
Yes, I hope to take Lauren there. Wasn't it good?
It was very good.
You know how I found that? I was in Bethesda.
Naked homeless man told you?
Yeah. I saw this naked homeless guy at Christmas, and I was there at Christmas time, and I was just walking, and they had it decorated very nice. Christmas lights everywhere. It's really a neat little town, and. Excuse me, walking along, and it says Green Papaya, and it's like this doesn't look like your run-of-the-mill Vietnamese or Chinese or, some kind of ease restaurant. And I looked at the menu, and the prices would also indicate it was not your run-of-the-mill restaurant. And because it's not dreadfully expensive, just it's more so than most Vietnamese restaurants. And I looked at the menu, and I went inside, and I was like, this place looks really nice. So I actually made reservations right there with the maitre d' and went back that night. So, I mean, I didn't, nobody told me about it. I just walked by it and saw it. So, but, yeah, it's very good. And then the pub that I took you to for lunch.
That was awesome.
Was it not? Yeah. And, I used to eat there. It was a different name at the time. At the time,
Something Arms or Coat of Arms?
Yeah, Coat of Arms or something. When I lived up there, it was called George's. And seriously, me and my coworkers, Tony and Bill, ate there at least once a week because it was 5 blocks from the office.
The food was really good.
It was.
The ambiance.
Yeah.
The way the building is what I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
It's like an
Everything was wood.
Yeah, everything's wood.
Everything. The floors, the walls, the bar top.
The posts, the chairs, the tables, the ceiling.
Except for the chair I was in was actually like a wingback cushion chair, which was pretty sweet. It does have a very cool ambiance to it, no doubt about that.
Cool
but the
fireplace. And
what I liked, I already knew this about it, and they changed the fries. The fries they used to have were even better. But I went there for the steak and cheese, and I knew what to expect. You didn't, and you got it. You're like, oh, literally steak and cheese. I mean, it had grilled onions and peppers and lettuce, tomato, and all whatever you want on it. But it was a ribeye, cooked to order, and it kind of makes it kind of difficult to eat, but it's really good. And then the Mexican restaurant we went to, it was not amazing, but it's different. It's kind of like the place we go in Charlotte, Cantina. Mm-hmm. It's just not your regular run-of-the-mill Mexican restaurant.
Speaking of your not run-of-the-mill restaurants that you've told me about, that's not in D.C. When I was in Dallas recently, one of the folks that were there was from Atlanta, and I asked him if he had been to the Imperial Fez, because you had told me all about that being one of your favorites. And he said he hadn't been to it. No. But had seen it drives by it quite often.
Okay.
And had heard good things about it. So.
Yeah, if you are in Atlanta, as long as we're on, this is what I love about the show. We can do whatever we want. Seriously, if you're listening, you either live in Atlanta or you go there or are planning to go there. If you have it in your timeline to go to the Imperial Fez, go. You will. I honestly believe you will find that it's worth it to go. And don't plan other things for the evening. That is your evening's entertainment. I got there at 7:15. I left at 11:30, and I only left because the young lady I was with had to work the next day, and it was getting late, and she needed to get home. I was just in town for a conference. I could have stayed. I have no idea what time they were going to wrap up, but it didn't look like it was any close to being done when I left. But yeah, when you get inside, it's like you've stepped into another world. We should.
Just a day trip, just so I can experience it.
Well, it would be too late to come back that night.
Okay, then
maybe an overnighter. Yeah, what would be really cool is if we could hit up a Braves game and like a 1:00 game. Like sometimes on Saturdays they'll have games at 1 in the afternoon, and then go to Imperial Fez, crash at a hotel, and then come home the next day. That would be really cool.
That would be cool.
And when you go there, you have to take off your shoes, just like if you're at a mosque. Betty Butterfield said it looks like Payless out there. No disrespect to any Muslim listeners we may have.
Or Payless.
Or Payless
patrons.
But yeah, when you walk into the restaurant, it really does look like you've entered, like you've gone abroad and you're in another world. Is
it kid friendly? Can I take?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's they do have trained, like classically trained belly dancers, but they are more clothed than some people you would see walking down the street.
Right.
Their dance is they dance with fire and sometimes swords, and it can be erotic, but I wouldn't find it to be vulgar.
Right.
So I would have no problems taking a child your daughter's age maybe my new stepdaughter may be a little young for it. But yeah, it's really you sit on the floor and there's these baskets everywhere, and this bread, and different kinds of bread. You just reach in the basket and grab some bread, and it's like 6-7 courses, and it's just really cool. And the owner comes around from table to table and talks with you and really takes an interest, and he asks you questions, and you can tell he's really listening and seems interested.
They sound petty, but do you have something to lean back against while you're sitting on the floor, or do you have to sit up without having something to lean back against?
Both. It depends on where you're sitting. A lot of the tables there's like a short wall, maybe a 3-4 foot wall behind them. Mm-hmm. If you're sitting there, then yes. If you're sitting anywhere else around the table, then no. So there's probably room, maybe a little crowded, but there's probably room for 2 people to sit with their back to the wall, and then you just scoot up as you're eating one course, and you can go back against the wall.
Now, is this kind of like a Kyoto thing where you've got lots of different people that you're not there with at the same table as you?
Yes, but the tables, they have tables for like 2 or 3 or 4.
Okay.
You don't have to sit at a table with like 12 people.
I see.
Now, if you have a party of 12 people, can. But now here, the thing is, like, you know, when you go to a big, like New York, and you go eat at some place in Manhattan, even if you have a table for 2, like the next table is 2 feet over because it's so crammed. Right. It is kind of like that when you're sitting, like the table I sat at was one table over from the corner. And the guy in the corner I was kind of jealous of. He was like, he had a harem. He was literally seated in the corner on all these pillows, and he had a woman under each arm, and then the rest of the table, he was there with like 6 women.
Huh.
Yeah, and they were like feeding him. It was pretty awesome. I'm not making this up.
I have a new fantasy.
They were feeding him grapes and fanning him, but they were actually feeding him, and it was pretty amazing. Anyhow, I would highly recommend if you're going there and you don't have all your activities planned to do it.
Called harems. And have a bunch of belly dancers and beautiful women working there.
Right.
And single men become. There's no funny business. No. But they are pampered.
Right.
Hand-fed, fanned.
Mm-hmm. That sounds pretty good.
Does
it have to be single men? Wait a second. That doesn't sound that fun.
Okay, married men with nuts from their wives.
Okay. Express written consent, that's right. So yeah, highly recommend Imperial Fest. Now this is based on when I went in like 2000 and 2001. So it has been quite some time, but the Green Papaya, it had been probably 8 years since I'd been there, and it was just as good as it was when I was there before. So I would recommend it.
I mean, I know it still exists, and it looks similar like we talked about. But when I go to their website, it's still up and running.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was. I was just blown away. Now, it's not something I would necessarily want to do like on a regular basis if I lived there, because I think it may get old. It's a place like you maybe go once or twice a year, but if you went more than that, I think it would you would get burned down on it. And the food was not, for me, exceptional. But I don't like Middle Eastern and like Northern African food.
Right. And
it's a Moroccan restaurant. It was still good.
Definitely not my typical style, but it'd be kind of cool just
because it's different. Right. It's something different. It was more like a cultural experience for me. It really was. Now, there were things that I had that were good. But, you know, they kind of throw some stuff in there. It was like chicken. But then there's like honey and almonds, good. But then like ground up cloves, not really digging that. You know, just some odd combinations, some mint thrown in here and there. But definitely, I recommend it for the experience.
Speaking of unique restaurants, my parents keep telling me that I have one up in Ohio that I've not visited. I guess it's a restaurant/vineyard, but they go up there quite a bit. I don't say quite a bit. I mean, once every 2 or 3 months or so. Group of friends, and apparently you cook your own meat. They have a big huge long outdoor grill, and usually the husbands go out and grill the meat while the wives sit back and sip their wine and eat the whatever and socialize. But you get to pick your own steaks from a big tray, whatever steaks. You go outside and cook it to your liking.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, Dad doesn't cook, so Mom says she's always out there with all the guys cooking. They laugh at her because she brings her timer so she can get just right amount of time on each side.
Well, if you're going to do it.
Might as well do it right.
Exactly. Yeah, you've told me about this place several times, and I guess I just assumed that you've been.
I've never been to it.
Because you've told me about it, and it sounds intriguing.
And a place that I had been when we were having our business, a place called Ichabod's. Have I told you about that one?
I think you have.
It was a large footprint building with glass ceilings.
Mm-hmm.
It had like cobblestone streets inside and trees and growing up and whatnot.
Oh, okay.
And like a dance floor in certain places. But it also had like street vendors or cobblestone vendors. And you just walk around and, you know, got like, I mean, it's like being outside, inside.
Right.
And they had all kinds of different types of foods at different types of stations that remind you of like a street vendor.
Right.
And you just go up there, you go whatever you want, and walk around and eat it and
Wow.
dance or do whatever, and go up to the next one. We have live entertainment, different bands, different places.
Just like a one-price admission?
Right.
Okay.
But they're no longer business.
It's kind of, not that it was a restaurant.
A lot of places also used to run it for receptions for...
or maybe corporate parties and stuff.
Right.
That would be very cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't one restaurant, but there's a place in, what's the big place in Nashville? Opryland. In Opryland, where they have that outside, inside kind of thing. Because there was trees, and you were walking along, it looked like you were outside looking at a building, you know, the storefront, and there was birds flying around and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they had birds.
Yeah, so it was, that's kind of a neat feeling. It's kind of discombobulating. You're like, wait a second. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Ichabod.
I was trying to think of some cool day trips to take.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, well, wouldn't it be cool if you could find like a restaurant named Hardin's
mm-hmm.
or McMahon's or
mm-hmm.
Fletcher's or whatever,
mm-hmm.
you know? So I found an Irish pub
mm-hmm.
near D.C.
Okay.
that called McMahon's.
Okay.
And the website for it is so cool. I mean, it looks like something they took out of Ireland
right.
and put here. I mean, it looks like an old Irish, you know, with the shingled roofs and the
mm-hmm.
looks like, but it's kind of an upscale pub.
Mm.
So,
I do like day trips. I like to admit.
Go there and get my picture taken out in front.
Right. With our independent wealth, people probably would assume you own it.
Well, not to disappoint. My wealth doesn't come from. I'm not a restaurateur.
You could buy it if you wanted.
I could buy it if I wanted to.
Yes. They're probably part of your wealth is coming from the royalties they're paying you for the name. I mean,
well, I don't
I'm sure you have
where all my wealth comes from.
So, you know, day trips are fun. Mm-hmm. I like that. I also like overnight trips that could be close enough to actually make a day trip if you wanted to.
Right. That probably would be more of an overnight trip
mm-hmm.
there, too, because it's just right on the fringe. By the time you ate there late, it's too late to come back.
Right.
But there are some cool things to do around, like the caverns. Zoo-Ray Caverns
mm-hmm.
is nearby,
mm-hmm.
so you could do that. You know, I've never been, but Megan has.
Do they have like a midget, like
midget toss?
I was thinking of a midget like
boxing.
No, a midget amusement park. Or do you have to go to China for that? I'm looking for one here in the U.S., so I don't have to go to China. That would pretty much fulfill all my life dreams. How about
here? There's more than a day trip.
How about a restaurant called Harems, where all the ladies in harems are midgets?
You have a midget section. If that would satisfy a fantasy of yours.
How about just a restaurant called Midgets?
For little people.
They could get that horse that they said did not show any signs of dwarfism, even though he's only like 16 pounds, 3 feet tall. But he doesn't show any signs of dwarfism, all other than being a dwarf. What? Oh, boy.
The portions are so small.
Well, if we haven't offended you, just hang out a little bit longer. We probably will. I think we just got an email from the American Disability Association. Well, we like to start off our shows with good stories.
Yes.
Sometimes, however, we have a website.
Or unique restaurants.
Yeah, or unique restaurants. Sometimes we start off with tales of survival. And quite often, a tale of survival doesn't always sound like a good story. Because in order to survive something, it has to be a dramatic experience, something like this. So when I read this headline, it probably doesn't sound like a good story, and it didn't start off that way.
Doesn't have a happy ending.
Yes, we hope. It says, child raped and left to die gets justice 20 years later.
I feel all warm and fuzzy.
Basically, it's a really long story, but it says, even in the light of day, the Ragged Field in Dixon, Texas, has a sinister look about it. There's a coarsely mown area with ramshackle soccer goals made of sticks surrounded by scrubby trees and expanses of weeds. But despite its lack of scenic appeal, Jennifer Shute visits the field frequently. She doesn't come to see, she comes to remember. Goes on to say it could have been her final resting place, and now she's grateful to be alive. She was just 8 years old when she was raped and left to die in the field. Her throat slashed from ear to ear. That was nearly 20 years ago on August the 20th, 1990. She remembers it all. For years, it was because she didn't want to forget anything that might lead to the rest of the man who did such a horrible thing to an innocent little girl. During all that time, she made sure investigators never let the case go cold. Her motivation was simple. It was, she told, thinking of children, adults, anyone that could be getting victimized by him. And what would our good friend Ted Nugent say?
I don't like repeat offenders. I like dead
offenders. Exactly. Her determination has finally paid off. Last year, new DNA technology allowed samples to be taken from evidence collected at the scene 20 years ago. Back then, DNA traces were often too small to produce results. Today, scientists can get DNA profile from a single human cell. They went through the FBI database. They found a match. The suspect was a 40-year-old welder from North Little Rock, Arkansas, with a wife and 3 kids. His DNA was on file because he was charged in 1996 with a kidnapping, sexually assaulting, and threatening to kill a woman. And why was he not in jail?
No.
He was convicted of the kidnapping charge and spent 3 years in prison. Well,
that's fair. Yeah,
that's fair.
That's an even trade.
Yeah, kidnapping and sexual assault, 3 years. I think justice was served. The man's name is Dennis Earl Bradford. Under questioning, he confessed to kidnapping, raping, and trying to kill Jennifer.
A year and a half?
Oh, let's see here. In the same story, she's been telling for 19 years. As an 8-year-old girl, she was afraid of the dark, preferred to sleep with her mother, but on the night of the crime, she told her mother, just because I love you, Mommy, I'm going to sleep in my own bed tonight. She fell asleep with the light on, making the interior of her room visible from the street. She woke up to a man running me down the sidewalk of our apartments. He had come in through the window and kidnapped me. Of course, I tried to scream. He immediately covered my mouth and nose, put me in his car, drove off, held a knife to her throat in the front seat, and his exact words were, "Are you scared, little girl? Am I scaring you?" She doesn't know what happened next, but picks up her narrative in the field. The next thing I remember after that is him dragging me through the field by my ankles. Apparently he had choked me unconscious or strangled me unconscious, raped me, and then he slit my throat from ear to ear and left me in the field to die.
Oh, my gosh.
She was naked and lying on her back on top of a fire ant nest. Some 14 hours later, she woke up covered in fire ants, but when she tried to move, she couldn't. Her strength drained away with her blood. She tried to scream. Nothing came out. Her voice box had been slashed.
Oh, my gosh.
She was convinced she was going to die. But it turns out she was tougher than anyone could imagine. Some kids showed up to play. They found her. She was rushed to the hospital. The scar on her neck marks the place where breathing tubes were inserted to keep her alive. The doctor said she would never talk again. 3 days later, she was speaking. The doctor said she would never speak. Couldn't be farther from the truth. It's hard to make me quiet, she said with a laugh. Message to her attacker. Although she was in custody, and although the attacker was in custody and had confessed, one last loose end remained. The ability to have children naturally was destroyed when she was raped. Her life had been changed forever. She desperately wanted to face him in court at his sentencing and unburden herself. She even had written in her victim's impact statement, "You chose the wrong title. You chose the wrong little 45-pound, 8-year-old girl to try and murder. Because for 19 years I've thought of you every single day and helped search for you. And every year that's passed has given me more strength and drive for when I finally face you face to face as I am today." She hoped to accomplish to show him he didn't win and that I'm a strong survivor, and that his intentions of killing me weren't followed through with, and to show him how strong I am and how other victims, that no matter what obstacles you come across or how long you have to wait, that as long as you're strong and determined, you can get justice that you want. In the last violent act of his life, Bradford hanged himself in his cell last week before she had a chance to tell him how he failed to extinguish her life or her spirit.
And he killed himself before she had a chance to tell him that?
Yeah. A coward. But I'm glad that he did, because it would have just been a long trial and he would have got off on some technicality or something.
Out 3 years later.
Yeah, 3 years later to go do it again. So we're better off without him.
Well, that's kind of a good story.
Well, I tell the survival. I mean, it's a horrible tragedy, but, how would you expect an 8-year-old to live through that? I mean,
right.
her throat was cut from ear to ear. That's pretty miraculous.
So terrible.
And she laid in them for 14 hours.
Oh, God, that's terrible.
They were stinging and biting her all over.
I wonder if that gave her adrenaline enough to...
It must have been. I don't know. It's amazing.
Well, speaking of young women being abducted, this is my good news story.
Okay.
4-year-old girl's brother wrestles her from attacker. This happened in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach, not far from here, 3 hours from here. Police in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, credit the quick actions of a caring brother for saving a young girl from an attempted abduction. Police are looking for the man who tried to abduct a 4-year-old girl vacationing from Pittsburgh. The girl's mother, Erin Coons of Whitehall, told Channel 4 Action News that on Friday, she was walking near the beach with her 3 children when her daughter Josie ran off. Coons said that she then told her son Nathan to run after the child. When the 8-year-old boy caught up with his sister, Nathan said he saw a man trying to drag the girl into his car. "I screamed because of the fact someone was trying to pull her in the car, and I went down there and I beat the crap out of the guy," Nathan said. According to Erin Coons, the boy was able to wrestle his sister away from the would-be abductor. Nathan said, "Mommy, I just kicked and I punched and I hit and I just kept doing it," Coons told Channel 4 Action News. The man kept grabbing her and I kept pulling her and trying to get her back, he kept trying to put her back in the car. Nathan Coons was able to provide DNA evidence to police because he scratched the guy so severely. Neither child was injured from the attempted abduction. Myrtle Beach police have not made any arrests. The family has returned to their vacation. That was kind of good.
Yep. Did it say how old the brother was?
8.
8. That's pretty amazing.
He was 8 and the sister was 4.
Wow. Good for him.
Yeah.
But what help, you can't, this is rhetorical. I was going to say, help me understand what would possess someone to feel the need to kidnap anyone, let alone take a 4-year-old child. I can't comprehend, my brain cannot comprehend that.
I mean, it's sick.
I know it has to come down to power and not sexual need. It has to, because...
I mean, I guess he could have been taking the kid just for stealing her for...
Black market?
Black market, or...
Right.
For a...
Well, but still...
Her girlfriend,
how
or somebody else
sick
to raise. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
But God, I would hope it would be for that than the other, because the other is just so terrible, it's unfathomable.
Well, like my mother says, anybody who wants to get sex can. Now, it may not be a smart idea. You may get diseases you don't want, whatever, but it's anybody can. So, and even if you can't, you can always visit a prostitute. So, I used for the longest, I would think that rape and things like child abuse it had to be about sexual gratification. And while on some level I'm sure that it is, it has to be, the majority of it has to be about the power. Because if you just want sexual gratification, you can get that without doing something with a child.
I didn't put the story, and you may have seen it because it was all over the news here locally, just over here on North Elm Street. Did you hear about this? They arrested somebody for human trafficking, and they had a 14-year-old girl that they were selling out for prostitution.
Wow.
She was from a foreign country, and somehow INS got involved and notified the police, and they raided. They actually went in there, and undercover policemen went in there, and they offered to sell her to them for sex for $30.
Wow.
And I guess the police raided them, and there was gunshots, and 2 men were arrested and for prostitution, human trafficking, and kidnapping. And that's here in Greensboro, just this week.
Yep. Bring in your foreigners. Well, yeah, my brain can't understand that. I forget what it was. I saw, it was some movie. Oh, we saw it at the theater together with Liam Neeson. It's a one-word title where his daughter gets kidnapped. Remember that?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, yeah.
I can't remember the name of it, but you know what I'm talking about?
I do know what you're talking
Remember
about.
towards the end of it, those super rich oil sheiks were buying off these young ladies. Now, some of them certainly look to be taken, yes. Some of them certainly look to be of age and even appear to be there willingly because it probably paid quite well. But this young lady and others like her were there against their will, and while they may not have been underage, they were certainly young. And I mean, it's unfortunate that stuff like that actually happens. I don't understand.
Yeah, I know it happens, but that hits close to home when it happens right over here on Elm Street.
Right.
Or Church Street, or Eugene. Maybe it's Eugene. I can't remember. Greensboro.
Right. Unbelievable. Well, you know my solution. Public hangings.
But it's not just the traffickers. There must be a market
the
for
sickos that are
doing it.
The patronizing. I know. There shouldn't be a market for that.
What was I telling you the other day about?
Unbelievable.
When we confiscated that computer, I say you mainly. I forget who it was.
Yeah, Jim Menzel, but I don't want to say his name live on the air.
Yeah, the sex offender Jim Menzel?
Yeah, Jim Menzel. Smells like a cigarette. Oh, did I just say his name out loud? Yeah, he went to prison. We're glad.
I thought he got off. Or did he go to prison later for something else?
Well, I don't know how long he was in there. He made bail, but when they raided his house, because I asked, when they called me back to follow up with me, I asked them, they had asked me previously, would I be willing to testify? And I said, absolutely. And they said, you're going to get drilled because, obviously you're the first suspect as to, that his defense could say that you put it there. Are you okay with that? I was like, I'm absolutely confident. And I had my work order, and it was, technically I had every right to do what I was doing, and I was completely confident in that. And they said, okay. Well, they called me back about a month later, and they told me I wouldn't be needed to testify, and I was like, why? And they're like, well, we got a warrant raided his house, and we don't need your testimony. So obviously what they found there was so much more incriminating it didn't even matter. And so what happened to him, if he went to jail or not, I would have to assume that he did.
But he came back and picked up his PC.
Yeah, but that was while the FBI was there. They wanted him to come pick it up so he could take it back and have it in his possession at his home. So when they got the warrant and they raided his house, they apprehended the PC, and then...
No, they took the PC from our office and looked at it.
No, they looked at it there. Yes.
I
was back there with him.
When he tried to get back from them, they said they had to pay.
No, he dropped the computer off, and he came back on his lunch break.
I remember completely different.
He came back on his lunch break, and he said, "Is my computer ready?" And I said, "No, but they are looking at it right now," which I thought was hilarious because they being the SBI. And they had a technician guy that came in about a couple hours later, and he went over it with me as well. And they were going to take it, and then they decided not to. They wanted him to pick it up. So when they got the warrant, they would get it.
I know what I'm thinking of. They confiscated it from his house.
Yes.
But they wouldn't give it back to him later.
Yes.
Until he paid the bill to us.
Right.
Because he hadn't paid the bill to us. Somehow he picked it up without paying the bill.
Right. Right. So that's what happened. So he took it home. They raided his house. They found it.
I remember him coming back after the fact and paying the bill.
Right.
That's what I remember.
Right. And that's how he got his computer back from them. But, the court date was, that he was just out on bail at that point. So I don't know that he went to jail, but as much as they said that they found numerous VHS tapes and print of stuff that was highly illegal, and it was there was no defense against it. So I would have to assume he had some kind of jail time. I would hope. So, but yeah, I was glad that I found that. I'm glad he brought it to me. Well, shall we go to some quirky stories?
I have a sex offender story. Kind of leads right into that.
Well, please share.
New Jersey mom recognizes census worker as sex offender. Woman recognized the door-to-door census worker from the state sex offender registry. A man with a U.S. Census badge knocked on Amy Schlackenbach's door on May 4th. Thinking that answering the door to a government worker was a safe bet, she did, and then she wondered why he looked so familiar. As soon as the man left, Schlackenbach realized where she had seen him before, on the state's sex offender registry. I figured, this is a government worker. I'm safe, she told the Inquirer. She gave him names and birth dates of her family and to the man who called himself Jamie. The man's real name was Frank Cooney. Goes by many aliases. But
he's a loony.
He's a loony. Let's see here. He was actually 47-year-old Cooney who had been convicted of assaulting an underage girl and having inappropriate contact with other victims. She called the police and warned her neighbors. Cooney was arrested Monday on charges of false representation and impersonating a public official. The census official told Inquirer that a Jamie Shepard had been hired in late April after passing a name check but was fired May 5th after he failed the fingerprint check.
Mm.
So I guess that means that he actually wasn't a census taker, that he was pretending to be to get information, do you think?
I believe so.
I was thinking that was more the census's fault, but maybe they did do their due diligence.
He was impersonating.
All right, no thought sex offenders. Unless you have some sex offender-related stories you want to share.
I don't. I do have one about a man who was maybe taking a shortcut.
Okay.
Pennsylvania. Authorities say a homeless man, here we're back on the homeless topic, say a homeless man who said he was looking for the fastest route to a concession stand was arrested after walking onto the field during a minor league baseball game in Pennsylvania. Logan Township police say they'll file criminal trespass, disorderly conduct, and public drunkenness charges against 24-year-old Tyrone Squires. He's from Massachusetts, but he has no permanent address. Police say Squires lowered himself over a fence and onto the field during the bottom of the ninth inning, so the game was almost over.
We can be at the bottom of the field, at the bottom of mine.
ballpark security allowed him to walk slowly along the outfield warning track and grabbed him as he exited near the bullpen along the right field line. So it's like, it's bottom of the ninth, dude. I mean, seriously. Wow. So I thought that was an interesting story.
I got one I thought was kind of funny. A farm where scenes from the 1996 movie Twister was hit Monday by a real tornado. J. Barry Harrison Sr. lost a horse, 2 houses, 5 barns, 2 silos, and miscellaneous farm and irrigation equipment, but his family was not hurt. We built all this in 50 years, and it blew away in 15 minutes. It was quite a wind, he said. During the filming of a scene in Twister, film crews tracked actors along a road and taking shelter beneath a bridge as a tornado passed over. The track of the fictitious tornado in the film and the real one that hit Monday appeared eerily familiar.
Wow.
The path of the tornado came exactly the same way as the one in the movie. The two silos destroyed in the storm were also pictured in the film, as was the tractor left on the bridge in the movie. The tractor wasn't damaged.
What's Tim Wilson say? It's like, tell me how a tornado can rip a 16-penny nail out of a barn door, but can't get that tank top off Helen Hunt.
I had never said that.
He called it a gay tornado. Well, have you ever received a bonus at work?
I have.
Have you ever been asked to give it back?
No.
Right. We were talking about Atlanta earlier in our show. Lawrenceville, Georgia. About 180 county employees in the suburban Atlanta are being asked to return thousands of dollars the county claims they were overpaid 16 years ago. Gwinnett County's Chief Financial Officer, Aaron Bovis, calls it a project to clean up receivables and eliminate outstanding obligations. The county is seeking to collect more than $39,000 from employees who received bonuses in their paychecks in 1994. Authorities blame the overpayments on a payroll anomaly when the county adjusted employees' payroll cycles. Employees can apply the money to vacation leave or make a cash payment. I don't know if they have any legal standing there. I don't. It's 16. Maybe if it were 16 days later, it'd be like, oh, guys, we're sorry, but this was a mistake. 16 years ago?
What company was it?
It's the government.
Oh,
what do you expect? It's the county.
No doubt. No wonder. Wow.
I don't think I would return it personally.
Well, I mean, if they can take out their check, I mean, what's to stop them?
Right.
Wow. City requires lingerie store to get food permit for having tasty treats. Rosemary Benitez thought it was a joke at first. She was told her store was going to need a food permit in order to stay in business. But Benitez doesn't own a restaurant. She owns the Shades of Love lingerie store.
Shades of Love.
Shades of Love sells racy lingerie, high-heel shoes, adult toys, and items meant to enhance a couple's sex life. However, some of these items are edible. That's why the health department ruled the store needed a food permit. Oh, like a day trip to me.
You can eat cotton.
The permit costs about $230 a year. It also means the store is subject to regular health inspections.
That's ridiculous.
Benitez says everything is sold as novelty. Everything in the box says novelty item only. It's not something you sit down and actually eat. It's more for looking and tasting. Edible? No, it's not going to fill you up.
We love stories about drunkenness.
Mm-hmm.
And we also love stories about DUIs because it seems to be a regular basis.
Yes. Some of our Best stories.
Yes. Well, here it comes from Glenville, Pennsylvania. Police said a Maryland man was so drunk after driving into a central Pennsylvania field that a farmer had to carry the handcuffed suspect out in the bucket of his tractor. Southwestern Regional Police Chief Greg Bean said 36-year-old Sean Anthony Hott of Boonesboro, Maryland, had to be pulled to safety after he was nearly run over by his own truck. How drunk are you to almost run yourself over?
I'm so drunk I almost ran myself over.
Bean said Wednesday that Hott was driving through fields Sunday night and fled police before nearly hitting a herd of cows. Bean said Hott surrendered and collapsed behind his truck, which started to drift back toward him. Officer Bryn Lindenmuth pulled Hott away and then needed the farmer to carry him back to his patrol car. So basically he was literally so drunk that he couldn't walk on his own and could not be carried by another person. And
they carried him in a tractor?
In the bucket of a tractor.
Doesn't say how much he weighed?
No. It does not say.
Well, even if I was there and I was having to carry this drunk man, even if he just weighed 200 pounds,
right,
and I had a tractor where I could just pick it up and pick him up and secure him that way, I'd take the easy one.
Yes.
I'd take the tractor.
Absolutely. But here's a neat story. You had a story about the 8-year-old saving his 4-year-old sister. This is less impressive.
Okay.
But still, I guess, quite noble. Basically, it's a story about someone in the wrong place at the wrong time. They decided to rob a place where this rugby player, a 48-year-old rugby player, basically started battering him with a folding chair, and then took him down with a judo move during a robbery attempt at a bookie joint. So let's see. The rugby player, a lot of people didn't realize, he had actually just broke his arm in a rugby match. He showed up in court to collect praise in a cast. Here's the quote from Martin Richardson, the rugby player. I wouldn't normally open the door for anyone anyway, let alone a robber. So what if he had a gun? He was very impolite, and I don't take kindly to that.
If he said open, please, maybe. I don't take kindly to impolite robbers.
What would possess a man to take an armed robber with nothing but a folding chair? Well, it happens to be a couple different kinds of crazy. And then it shows another video of this guy. Martin Richardson, rugby player, tackles robber, hits him with a chair. Hapless gun robber picks the wrong man and basically loses out to the punter, who beats him up with a chair. I thought that was pretty funny.
I got another story of thwarted robbery.
Yep. And when the show's over, I'm actually going to show you the video clip of it.
Oh.
Yeah, that should be exciting. So, you have a story of a thwarted robbery?
A thwarted robbery. That includes ninjas.
Ninjas. That's awesome.
Ninjas to the rescue. 3 men attacked a 27-year-old German medical student after getting off the train and following him down an alley. What the muggers did not realize was that the alley ran behind the Crunchyroll Warrior School. A ninja student coming out of class noticed the attack, alerted the teacher and 3 other students. Ninja Sensei Kalen Soto says he and his students gave chase to the men. We looked around to see what was happening, and there were 3 blokes on this guy just kicking and punching him in the head. We started running towards him, and they took off. They would have seen 5 of us in ninja gear, all in black, with our belts on, running towards them. He said, I think they're probably still running, if I'm not mistaken.
I like that.
I thought that was funny. Ninjas to the rescue.
Well, maybe this is the guy from your D.C. experience. I don't know. He's now in Thibodaux, Louisiana.
Okay.
A man who told police that God told him to walk the streets naked to save his soul has been arrested. Thibodeau police responded to a vicinity complaint around 2 a.m. Thursday and found Shafiq Mohammed walking nude down the street. When approached, Mohammed reportedly told officers that America raped him and added that God told him to walk the streets naked to save his soul. Mohammed was taken into custody and charged with obscenity. He was booked into the La Fourche Parish Detention Center where he awaited bail. So apparently he has a direct line with God.
Well, yeah. God's all the time telling me to strip naked and walk down the street.
Do you like rats? I don't think you like rats.
I'm not a big rat fan. I hate raccoons.
Right.
But I'm not a huge rat fan. They don't.
Well, I like the movie Willard. I saw the original one. I saw the remake with Crispin Glover, who was the absolute perfect person for that role. Yes. Couldn't have found a better person. But here's something a little bit creepy. This comes to us from La Cruces, New Mexico. City animal control officers. Yes. Officers have started removing hundreds of large feral rats from inside a La Cruces rental home. Animal shelter director Beth Mock said the rats, some sickly and displaying evidence of fighting, are about the size of a 4 to 5 month old kitten. Animal control officers had taken 2 skinny dogs and about 170 rats to the shelter by mid-Thursday. Officers were estimated there were at least that many rats still hiding in the home. They found fur and skeletal remains of 2 dogs that were presumed to have been eaten by the rats. Authorities have charged a 55-year-old woman with 3 misdemeanors for excessive waste, improper care, and maintenance of animals, and a dead animal removal. Each of the charges carry a maximum fine of $500 or 90 days in jail.
So she could get fined $1,500.
Yes.
Probably a bargain to get
the house
get 340 rats removed for $1,500. Is probably a good deal. And clean up some dead animals while they're at it.
They probably have mean, nasty teeth.
Right. Nasty teeth. Foul beasts.
Obviously, this lady has to be mentally disturbed.
Yes.
I don't know how you could live in filth like that and not be. So here, probably our last story of the night.
I had 2 rants, but we didn't get to them.
Oh, I have rants. We'll rant next week.
We rant next week.
Officials say a mix-up led a school bus driver in northern New Jersey to start to take students to an amusement park instead of school. I bet the kids like that. Yeah. About 30 Ridgefield Park High School students boarded the bus around 7:45 a.m., thinking it was the bus they ride every day. But the driver had shown up early to take 7th and 8th graders to Six Flags. The students became worried when the bus reached the turnpike and called their parents and the school when the driver wouldn't stop. And the driver eventually listened to them and exited the interstate.
If I was there, I kept quiet.
School officials called the police to stop the bus. Officer rode on board until it reached the school. I don't think the school, I think he thought that the kids were just, being kids. But I'm with you. Why? Maybe they thought they were being kidnapped.
Right.
But, I mean, if I asked him where we're going and he said Six Flags, I'd be like, okay.
Or if you're a pedophile, that might be the perfect thing to say.
We're going to Six Flags.
Six Flags.
I have Six Flags over at my house. That's it. Maybe next week we'll just have rants.
We could.
I could rant for about 5 hours on my rant. So, okay. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next week.
This has been Blog Talk Radio's The Incoherent Ramblings of C&E. Christopher and Eric are your hosts, and we would like to thank you for listening to our show today. Don't forget to tune in for next week's show, live from Greensboro, North Carolina, as we are every Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. Eastern Time.